Welcome everybody to our latest edition of the podcast on agents and chat. And today it is going to be led by
Daryll Rowe.
Daryll Rowe. He's going to lead, and I'm here for comic relief, I think, today. Click record.
Yeah, I don't know about comic relief. I think I need you as backup, right? But today we're talking about primarily, there was an announcement in the message center that some of you may have seen. So this is primarily for admins, not necessarily for end users, but there's maybe some general interesting stuff there. And we're going to talk about enterprise data protection and how that applies to Copilot Chat. So that could be of some interest to a lot of you. So with that, I guess I could share my screen, I guess.
Yeah, and as we get into that, I can tell you, like, I know with my own customers, that idea, rolling out chat, the chat that you get as a part of your service, it's not free. Have Microsoft 365, but a lot of interest around providing that to all their users. This is how we secure it. And with the announcement that we're going to be talking about, this becomes paramount. So,
absolutely. So, enterprise data protection, that looks like a heavy title, right? So I'm going to try and simplify it down, probably. So you can see I actually use Copilot to generate my slides. So let's see how well it did. So just to clarify, there are two chat products in Microsoft 365. There's Copilot Chat and Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, just to confuse everybody. But to make it simpler, there's the Copilot Chat is the one that's for the web. So if you don't see a slider, or if you've got the slider on the chat product flown to the website, that stuff that's looking at the internet, it's grounding on the internet, it's using Bing, it's up to date, everything else. And that has enterprise data protection. Super important, right? And then Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat actually has both that as well as chat that points to your Microsoft 365 data that's in your tenant. So that's your email, your Teams messages, your meetings, files in OneDrive, files in SharePoint, things that are being shared with you, or the work slider. Okay, so some of you will just see no slider, and then that's using the one that's on the web. And some of you will see the slider, and then you can see there's actually two options, work and web. So this is just to let you know what we're going to be talking about, but they both have something called enterprise data protection. And what enterprise data protection is, it's something that your company signs up for when it gets a Microsoft 365 tenant that guarantees that we're not doing anything nefarious with your data. It's your data in our cloud. This is a bit of an eye chart to read, but it's covered by something called a Data Protection Addendum, a DPA, and our product's terms and conditions. So we act as a data processor. It's your data, but we're processing it in our cloud. And we have a number of controls and commitments that you sign up for when you sign up for Microsoft 365. I'm not going to go into them because there's a lot of stuff. And I actually do have some handy dandy links at the bottom that you can go and go to. And if you want to use Copilot and search for it, maybe an even better way of finding it, it might be quicker. That's how I found them. Is go look them up, because it's a lot of stuff there to understand. But basically, it means we're not doing anything with your data. It's your data. We're not doing anything sharing it. We're not using it for marketing or advertising or anything else. Whatever lives in Microsoft 365 stays in Microsoft 365.
So,
and that includes Copilot. Yes, sir.
Taking a step back. So for customers and end users who might be, tuning in and saying, well, okay, what? So if we think about AI, just in general, AI and search, because you use AI like search, but with all that, when you're out there in the public web and doing things, whether it's a freely offered version of something, a search engine or whatever, the reason why this gets to be so important is because if you're doing searches out there in those open things, it is taking your data, it's keeping your data that you put into that search. It's, it's doing a lot of things, because those are paid for, models based upon advertising and what you're doing. You're like that. You're the commodity, right? So
correct.
It's keeping all that. Whereas here, we're going to get into all of what we do, but you can use that. I don't want to say freely, but because it's not free, that service that comes with M365, either version of chat, to protect that data, even if it has to access public internet information.
Correct. Yeah. I don't like to think of it as a free chat or free AI, right? Because it really isn't. You pay for it. It's part of your Microsoft 365 contract, and you get a bunch of benefits, which one of them is EDP, right? That is a huge benefit. Now, you could go and, again, as you said, as you mentioned, go and use a free AI platform. There's lots of them out there. They're growing every day, right? But as you mentioned, there's a cost to that. There's a cost for those folks to provide those services, right? And typically, it's your data that's being used for that. So, you know, if you're looking at a free, air quotes, free service, it isn't free, right? There is a cost. It's your data. It's something else, right? It's your privacy.
Nobody rides for free.
Exactly. With Copilot Chat and M365 Copilot Chat, we don't use that. You're paying for it through your M365 contract.
Yep.
Alrighty. So EDP, Enterprise Data Protection, that covers everything in Microsoft 365, not just Copilot. So where we apply EDP, though, is in Copilot is where we do things like we're looking at your prompts, or you're putting prompts into Copilot. You're uploading files into Copilot. EDP then comes into play. So what that means is with EDP, prompts and responses are protected by the same terms and conditions as you would use for things like your email in Exchange, your files in SharePoint or OneDrive, or your Teams messages, right? They don't ever get shared out. Your prompts never get shared out. We don't train on them. So there are 5 things to remember. We secure your data. First things first, we protect everything at rest. Everything in our cloud is protected. Everything in transit is protected. So anything you send to Microsoft 365, it's encrypted across the wire, across the fiber even, right? And we have data isolation between tenants. So we don't share your prompts with another tenant. No, we don't do that. It's a complete full walled off environment. As I mentioned before, your data is private. We do not share it with anybody else. We have commitments to GDPR, EDU, data boundary, ISO. There's a whole bunch of different things here. We're a global company. We respect that. We respect those laws and conditions, and your data is private. So we also respect things such as your identity models and permissions, your sensitivity labels. So prime example being in the Microsoft 365 Copilot, if you've put something in a file as highly confidential and you're restricting people viewing it, and you also have Microsoft 365 groups, I won't be able to find that. So a prime example being, I work on Microsoft, Xboxes at Microsoft. I can't find stuff, anything proprietary to Xbox when I search through Copilot.
And we've looked.
I'm not taking. I'll take the 5th on that one. We also, if you're doing anything with AI, such for example, you're generating content or you're generating pictures, we have something called the customer copyright commitment. I don't think I've put a link to that in this deck, but basically you're protecting anything that's generated with AI, such as this picture of a padlock. I generated that this morning. This doesn't exist. It's not stealing somebody else's copyright. It is protected, and we cover that. And then lastly, I think this is the big one, right? We don't train using your data. Super important, right? We're not learning from it. We're not using it for other things. We don't send it out to the pure internet. We do everything in-house in your tenant. It doesn't go out there. The only thing that goes out, and we've got a little picture in a second, is the search prompt if we're using it grounding into Copilot Chat.
Quick note, like on the image thing, because that's actually come up with customers. A lot of folks are used to going on, again, to these other services, free ones, right? Where they can upload an image of themselves or somebody else and then give some prompts. and it will alter the image, make it anime or whatever.
Yeah.
We specifically here, we don't do that. In fact, so something that sounds fun, you can't do because we are protecting you for copyright law.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's super. I mean, the last thing you want is a copyright infringement of a picture you generate that used in a PowerPoint deck, right?
I tried to make myself a knight on a steed, and all that, and it just
yeah, and certain search terms we don't, if you wanted a picture of Mickey Mouse, it won't do it because it's violating Disney copyright, so it won't do it. So don't worry about that.
That's good to know. Yeah.
The other thing as well is with Copilot Chat, the web version, you can upload files and you can ground on that, right? So I can upload a PDF or a Word doc. We're not training on that. It doesn't go into the internet. It's not shared with anybody else in the world.
Kept within. Isn't that kept within the 365 boundaries?
That's a great segue to my next picture, right? Here we go. This one's a little bit busy, but we'll talk to it. So as you can see, everything here is encrypted. We have locks on there, but everything lives within the tenant, including going out to the web, right? So the large language model lives in Microsoft Cloud. This one is part of EDP. So if you do a search, for example, and it's a web prompt and it's grounding on the internet, the only thing that goes out to the internet is the actual search term, right? So I might put a long prompt in, but it might have certain keywords that will go, but it's what's the word? Anonymized? Is that right? Yeah.
It's anonymized. It's also stripped, right? So it strips out. You don't send the whole prompt. We only send, like you said, because it's going to bring back. And I love this. I saw an explanation the other day. It's going to bring back that a whole bunch of high level stuff that then the orchestration engine within the service boundary will reason over and give you an answer based on it. We're not doing it out there.
No. So if your company is Contoso, you may have heard of Contoso once or twice. We might mention that, right?
I have stock in Contoso.
Nothing goes out to the internet that says Contoso on it, right?
Yeah.
That's all. And we're not training on it or anything. And then another benefit of EDP is you can use, if you have the right licensing and you use Microsoft Purview, you can actually add data loss prevention policies. You can add, you can track certain keywords. You can do some monitoring. You can prevent nefarious stuff happening as well, right? On the Copilot Chat on the web version. So you have a lot of tools in your toolkit. You can, prevent anything that happening that shouldn't happen, right? So to cut a long story short, it's a safe, secure AI tool.
So Daryll, this brings and you've heard me rant and rave. It brings to mind a point where we talk frequently to customers. We talk every day to customers, and we've both seen a lot of the hesitation around rolling out and it's not free. You paid for it with your subscription to M365. Correct. That web grounded chat, right?
Yeah.
And they're hesitant to roll it out and to pin it. They're hesitant because they're worried about stuff getting out. Yet, the same customer, their users are going out using popular search engines, copying and pasting. They're using other AIs that are freely available. So it's almost like when you do that, because we know it's like the latest survey was 70% of people are bringing their own AI to work on their phone or computer. It's almost like they're pushing them to do the wrong thing.
Right. Yeah, and I've seen that. And I actually, before I joined Microsoft, I was actually on the customer side, right? And if you block something, what's that? I think it's the nature finds a way, right? I think that's Jurassic Park, yeah.
Yep.
A Goldblumism. I like using Goldblumisms, but basically, nature finds a way, right? If you block something, users will go and use it. They'll do something else that shouldn't be allowed, right? the shadow IT you've probably heard of. So whether it's using a AI on their phone or doing it through the browser, they will do it, right?
And
so
the thing that kills me is I was talking to one customer, and great people, but they were saying, well, we blocked this particular AI and this particular one. I was like, so have you blocked Google? Have you blocked, any other search things? Have you blocked their phones? Because they're going to do it. They're going to get out there and they're going to search and look. All the search engines now have AI baked in.
Yeah.
So really, what are you doing? Yeah,
exactly. And here we're giving you a secure AI tool included in your existing licensing. We're not charging an extra penny for it, right?
And the thing too, like they talk about, some of the compliance and things around laws that they have for, well, we're self-indemnified with insurance and stuff for health. So guess what? We fall under the same classifications and requirements, but yet we're using. Yeah. All right, I'll shut up.
No, this is good. This is good because it's really what we're doing is we're giving our customers, they can enable their users with a secure AI for no additional fee, right?
Yep.
And if they're using that free service, it isn't free because they're taking that data and they're doing something with it. I don't know what they're doing with it, but as we've always said, if the service is free, that means you're the
your data is the cost.
Is the cost? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, a couple of things I want to show. So I'm going to leave this up for a little while. I'm not sure there's an easy way we can share these links out. We can put it into the blog post maybe.
Yeah, I'll put them right.
Yeah, if you want to go read up more about this stuff, there's some very, very long articles on this. I recommend having Copilot on the right-hand side and getting it to summarize it because it makes life a lot easier, especially the privacy terms because that is a long document. But go there, I encourage you to go there, read that, as well as how Copilot does EDP and then the DPA as well. So definitely recommend that. So that's one topic we wanted to cover. What was the other one, Mike? It was that message center post, right? Pinning.
Yes.
Right. Let me pull that up.
We don't want people freaking out, but some people don't read the message center.
So for those in the know, the message center, that is this thing on the right-hand side, yes? In your tenant. We notify you, we actually tell you about stuff coming down the pipes and new features, things like that. But there's a new thing about pinning. You may have seen this message and maybe you haven't seen it and we're letting you know about it. But what's pinning, Mike? That's putting Copilot in the apps?
Yeah, so it's going to, by default, right, if you take no action, by default, for those users who you haven't rolled out a Copilot license to, or they have it and don't, they may have a license, but they have to go find it. It's going to pin it in when they're in Teams, they'll see it above chat, right? So in that view, they're going to see it. And then they're also going to see it in Outlook. So really the two places. We've talked about how you can go in the back end and set that up yourself, but by default, your users are going to suddenly see Copilot Chat.
So you're going to see it you're going to see it on the right-hand side of your Outlook inbox, right? Yeah. And that's whether that's classic, web, or new Outlook, right?
Correct.
As I understand it. So that means you'll be able to see Outlook Copilot in Outlook here. Yes.
Looks just like Copilot Chat.
Right. Now we've given everyone the option to actually turn it off. Yeah. But I mean, what do you think? Should we do that or no?
I would think no. Again, and this goes back to why we wanted to talk about security first, right?
Yeah.
People are going to use it. The Pandora's box, if you want to call it that, or whatever, the cat's out of the bag. The train has left the station. AI is here, and your users are going to use it. And if you don't let them use it in a right, secure manner, they're going to go elsewhere, and they will use it. And you can block all the IP address ranges and stuff that you want. In the end, if they have this, good luck, because if they have their own phone, they're going to use, they're going to have access to AI, and they're going to use it. So why not give them the way to do it the right way?
So basically, do this, right? Pin the chat.
Yes. And I would also advocate, see where it says learn more how to manage the settings for the Windows taskbar. I'd take it the one step further. Because I use it off of my taskbar all the time.
Same here.
I'd make sure you have that done too.
Yeah. This one's a little bit more involved though, right? You need to write a script.
It is, but
a GPO.
Yes, but I mean, to me, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I use it all the time. I mean, you can see here I've got icons, a couple of icons. I have the consumer
Especially
one as
when
well.
I want to toggle, I want to have a dedicated view just looking there, right? I pull it up.
Definitely. Yeah, and I use it. Pop-up window. I was using it this morning trying to find my taxi. We were talking about that earlier. But I want to just also mention, as you can see on my Copilot, go back to what we mentioned about EDP, little green shield.
Yep.
There you go. EDP applies to this chat. That's the web one.
The beauty of it for the customer, is there anything they need to do to enable that if they're a 365 subscriber? No. It's just there. Now, if you went home on your home computer and you did Copilot, the consumer, and you would not see that. But for your 365, as long as you're logged in with your account, for work, you're going to get that.
Yeah, that gives you confirmation, really, that you know that whatever you're doing is safe. So if I'm uploading files or any this, so I hit the add content thing, I know it's protected with EDP. So I don't have to worry about that or, doing stuff that I shouldn't.
Yep. No, this is great. So,
awesome. So I'm
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'll hover back on this again. So anyone wants to read more up about this, but sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, so number one, Microsoft has been, and we are continuing to protect your information. If you have questions about it, talk to your account teams. But, I would keep in mind, I understand everybody has to do their due diligence and they're concerned about things. But in the end, your users will use AI, period. And they're going to use web-based UI for research and other things. And if you're not giving them the right way to do it, they're going to use a way that will directly violate your policies. And that is not that is not a strategy to protecting your company. That's a recipe for disaster. So give it to them, and with the pin it, make it obvious. So, and then message people about it, let them know it's available, so that they are actually going out and doing things the right way. Because if you haven't given it to them by now, they are going out and doing it the wrong way. Period.
And remember, it's included. We're not charging any extra for it. It's part of your current agreement.
You paid for it. You already are paying for it.
Yeah. You paid for it. You might as well use it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, as you can tell, we're kind of passionate about this, aren't we?
We were talking and I said, I'm going to do a podcast and I'm just on my own and I'm going to rant and rave, but I think this is a better forum. Because I do feel passionate. I mean, I see people using it all the time. This last week, we had my whiskey and cigar night that I have once a month. Right. And we're sitting there talking about things, and people as we're talking about, because when you have whiskey and cigars, you solve all the world's problems as you sit around the fire, right? But people were looking stuff up, I kid you not, off their phones and using a whole range of different popular AI that, I'm not going to call it the names, who they are. But they all had them on their phones, and everybody in my circle group is a professional like myself. I had a COO that was sitting there. I had a CEO that was in my group. I mean, these are all like high-powered people, right? And they all are using AI on their phone, and one's much younger than me, one's older than me, the full range gamut. And to me, that was like, it's done. The train has left the station, and the longer you keep not providing your users this capability, the more they are going out and they're learning a behavior. That's the other thing. They're getting learned behavior so that they're going to be tuned in to a particular AI interface and engine or search interface and engine that's going to get them, well, why would I use this? I already use this and it works and I like it and it's already. So you are helping to train your people for long-term bad behavior if you're not enabling them.
Yeah, I agree. And
shame on you. And if you don't like it, call me. Well, again at Microsoft.com. Teams, call me. We can talk.
Well, the worst case scenario is your intellectual property ends up in someone else's AI engine, right?
If they're pasting data out there, I mean, that other AI engine, if it's free, it's grabbing it, it's training, your data becomes part of their model. I mean, it can be pulled up by somebody else potentially long term. It blows my mind when I talk. Yeah, I'm getting riled up. But it does. It blows my mind. People go and they, no, we gotta shut the. What are you thinking? Okay.
Yeah.
Be that as it may.
I think that's a good time to probably. Yeah, I think we do. I think some comments in the blog post would be nice if anyone's got any questions. That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got. You have anything else?
No, I think that's it. I think just use the stuff. It's there.
Yeah. And I think you and I are going to meet again next week to record another 2 sessions.
Yes.
So, but this week we'll just have this one out.
This one was kind of an emergency one because we saw the blog post or the message center post. You wanted to just make sure people were aware of it and don't click no, don't block it.
We want to be transparent too, and because a lot of people, you and I both have been in those occasions where somebody hasn't read the message center, it rolls out, and then all of a sudden, whoa! We told you a month ago.
Yeah.
And so we just want to be up front.
And if you just let it roll and people start using it, there's no real harm.
No, you're protected. Exactly. All right. So with that, this is Mike.
It's Daryl. Thanks, Mike.
Have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. And use Copilot Chat.
With EDP.
With EDP. Have a good one.
Thanks.